John Tobacco. Welcome to this Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming to you today to start and kick off this week with a whopper of a 2-hour show. We'll be breezing straight through hour 1 and 2. And today, unfortunately, I am not joined by my co-host and managing editor, Frank Morano, who is flying off to Aruba today to celebrate his honeymoon with the newly minted Mrs. Rachel O'Brien. They were married over the weekend on Saturday. It was an unbelievable affair. We'll talk about all that later on, and probably all this week. We'll feed you some clips of all the great people that come show up and show their love for the Morano family. And the Bulls are showing their love this morning right down the street at the New York Stock Exchange, where the Dow is up over 140 points already to kick off this Money Monday edition. And as I've told you before, when it dipped below that 27,000 level, I was a little concerned. But today at 26,980 as we speak right now, it is poking its head back up. And above 27,000, we'll get back into those safe skies. And any good news on the China front, maybe a nice meeting with Iran to calm down the geopolitical fears. Any of those great things can help the market tremendously. And as I spoke to you about just 10 days ago, I thought under 10,000 Bitcoin may become a buying opportunity. It was in the middle of a siege of manipulative selling. These bigger institutions that are now starting to get interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, they tend to smash the market down when they want to establish a position. So we saw Bitcoin actually dip under 8,000 to 7,900 last week. But coming in today hot again at up about 300 points. And at 8,200, it's feeling good. I think there's an opportunity here, as I said. I'm long from just under 10,000. And I think somewhere in the 8s, between 8 and 10, there's room to roam for Bitcoin. And we're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies, and we're going to be talking about digital assets. And on Money Monday, we have a host of money guests. We have Itay Schechter coming up a little later on. He's the founder and CEO of Anywhere, which is this cool new product on your phone that if you're like a consultant or an advisor or some, when people call you, you have a fee to answer the call, and you start the meter running. So if it's $1 a minute, somebody wants to talk to you for 10 minutes about their business or helping them out or giving them advice, you could charge them, which is a cool new thing that's happening on these $1,000 devices that we're carrying in our hands. Freddie Gray is joining us. He's the editor at The Spectator USA. And in hour 2, one of the big topics that's going to be on the forefront of the 2020 elections is healthcare, access to healthcare and pharmaceutical pricing. You know, Donald Trump already did a whole heck of a lot of good things to try to bring down pharmaceutical pricing. But we're going to bring on a little later to kick off hour 1 an expert in this field, the CEO of Conversion Labs, who has a business where you can go online and talk to a doctor and they can give you some pharmaceuticals at much better prices, much below the market, and they can deliver it right to your doorstep. And those are all other great things that are happening. Of course, Conversion Labs is a publicly traded company, some great stuff, and Justin Schreiber, the CEO, is going to be here today to talk about that. And what I really want to rant about today is this whole Ukraine impeachment and all this crap. What people are overlooking is, and the Democrats love doing this, the mainstream media loves teaming up with them and creating these false narratives for us to chase around. And time and time again, they just wind up chasing their tail. If they waited 48 hours for Donald Trump to release the transcript, they'd probably be in a lot better shape today than where they currently are, because basically they want to impeach a guy for talking to a president of another country and mentioning that the former vice president may have been involved in some shady, swampy stuff. And, you know, the president knows firsthand, because he was involved in the Mueller probe and all this other stuff, as we all do now, as was reported by the New York Times, and as was confirmed by Joe Biden himself, that when he was the vice president of the United States of America, he was over in Ukraine, and his son, who had no background in the energy business, was hired by this company, Burisma, who was being investigated for corruption and potential collusion with the U.S. and using U.S. foreign policy to get favorable treatment. And the prosecutor who was looking into Hunter Biden's company, Joe Biden said it straight out. It's on videotape. We played it many times here. Joe Biden said, I told them, unless they get rid of the prosecutor who's looking into my son's new company, I'm going to take $1 billion and go back to the U.S. $1 billion in loan guarantees is leaving, and he points to his watch, in 6 hours, unless you get rid of that prosecutor who's looking into my son's company. So, you know, in the first place, this is what Joe Biden was doing when he was vice president. It'd be a free gift to run Joe Biden. The way he's limping into the race, he's going to limp out just as quickly. And I will say this to you. I've made some outlandish predictions on this show, but if you ask me, this is the deep state in collusion with Hillary and others to get Joe out of the way. And that's why they leaked this story. That's why they leaked the Ukraine thing. The distraction is look at Trump, but the real thing is let's expose what was really going on with Joe Biden so that he steps out of the race, and then we can get one of these other progressives in there like Elizabeth Warren or someone like that. And I like the way some of the Republicans are standing up to him, like Kevin McCarthy. And over the weekend, they were doing all the talk show sets. But here's what Kevin McCarthy had to say about the whole Trump-Ukraine thing.
How do you expect the president's defense to roll out going forward?
The defense of what?
Well, there's an impeachment inquiry.
Yeah. There's an impeachment inquiry going forward. It probably never would move forward had the Speaker waited 48 hours to have the transcript. We vote on important things every day, but there are certain votes that are different than others. Sending men and women off to war is the most difficult vote any member of Congress would ever make.
I'll ask you again, how does the defense of the president, in your view, roll out from here?
Why would we move forward with impeachment? There's not something that you have to defend here.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that every day we have to defend the president. It is crazy. Now with he's talking to another president about a lot of big things that are going on in the world, and he says, hey, there might be a shot here that my predecessor's vice president, Joe Biden, did some really, really, really bad things by getting involved in Ukrainian judicial policy and removing a prosecutor because they may have been getting a little too close to Burisma, which just happened to hire Joe's son. So I don't think we have to defend the president. The question is, they can go impeach, but just like a little Schoolhouse Rock 101, if the Democrats in the House start an official impeachment, not an impeachment inquiry, which is really nothing, if they start an official impeachment and they get the votes to impeach the president, then they recommend impeachment to the Senate. And in the Senate, the Republicans have a majority with 52, although there are a couple of Lulus over there, mainly Mitt Romney, who may go with Democrats. But unfortunately, you need 67 votes. So you need all 48 of the Democrats, well, 47 Democrats and one independent, Bernie Sanders. That's 48. Now you need another 19 Republicans to go for impeachment of the President of the United States, which, you know what, folks? It just ain't going to happen. So the whole thing is another exercise in futility. It's to wave around their Democrat brand and try to fire up their base. We're going after this president. They've been going after him for almost 3.5 years now, and he's still gone nowhere. The economy's in the best place it's been. Our position in the world is in the best place we've been. We're standing up to China finally for U.S. companies, and we're securing our borders. We have growth like no one expected. We have unemployment rates are as low as they've ever been in history. African-American unemployment rates are the lowest in history. And all the good stuff is what they want to overshadow with these continued investigations and researches, subpoenas. It's really nuts. And here's Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was a prosecutor, okay? And he heads up the Senate Judiciary Committee, so he knows some stuff about it. And I think, was pretty clear about it, what he thinks about this and whether or not, any of this evidence even means anything.
I don't know what happened. It smells to high heaven. I never said the Mueller witch hunt, the Mueller investigation was a witch hunt. I introduced legislation to protect Mueller. This seems to me like a political setup. It's all hearsay. You can't get a parking ticket conviction based on hearsay. The whistleblower didn't hear the phone call.
Right.
Who told the
Which he says.
whistleblower about the phone call and everything else?
He says
Donald
multiple
Trump
White House
is a
officials
still
were
an
discussing
American.
it.
Every American deserves to confront their accuser. So this is a sham as far as I'm concerned.
So you got a whistleblower who didn't hear anything, who told something to someone else, who's a career bureaucrat, and this is the basis for an impeachment investigation? I mean, there's an old saying called, "Don't pass the smell test." This thing stinks, and they want to focus in on impeaching Trump because he asked them to look into the former vice president in a collusion and extortion scheme. And I think the president has every right to ask his adversaries, and especially our allies and friends who are going to buy a whole bunch of equipment from us, that Barack Obama wouldn't even sell them the anti-tank stuff. And Barack Obama did tell Medvedev that, tell Vladimir after the election I could be a lot more flexible with him. And we got that on videotape. But here's Donald Trump trying to improve relations and look into the former administration, maybe being in the swamp. But all they want to do is look for Donald Trump, and anything he did wrong, that's always going to be the thing they're going to look at. Hopefully, the Republican senators will open up some of their committees into investigations into Joe Biden and his son and the origins of some of the stuff that wound up being in the collusion case. Who knows? I know this. It's going to be a great day. We're coming back right after this with Itay Schechter from Vanyware. And I'm always telling you about our favorite viewers and the guys who give me feedback. And on Wall Street, one of my favorite guys is Dylan Vasella, and he's celebrating his 24th birthday today. Happy birthday, my man. And you guys stay right there because it's going to be a big, bad Dylan birthday show right after this.